Ludwig Skučs, an amazing, long and colorful life with a lot of adventures and some bad experiences, misunderstandings and some decisions that can be changed, but nonetheless a life that must be celebrated as a miracle. Ludwig Skučs was born on February 18, 1918, into an already large family. He was the youngest of 8 kids. He lived in Zilupe, Latgale, near the border of Russia. In 1925, he went to school and learned there for only 3 years. For children who lived in the countryside, that was the amount of time that was thought to be appropriate. In family's opinion, that was the child needed to know numbers and how to read, and the rest they will learn themselves, working. After the school, the little boy didn't continue to learn. Ludwig started to work for his father's farm. He worked there for 7 years, but after a big fight in his family, he decided to move to Riga. He was 17 at the time. In 1935, he started to work in port as a loader. Ludwig had lived in the countryside with his family for all his life, and at the time he was really young, and the emotions that he felt was overwhelming. He felt scared and the most powerful at the same time. He now started to learn how to survive on his own. In 1938, he met his future wife-to-be. Elizabeth was born in a large family too. She had decided to move to the big city as well, and had started to work in catering business. She was a chef. One day Ludwig decided to go and eat in the cafe where she worked, and they fell in love. Ludwig and Elizabeth got married a year later, and during the same year he was called up for military service in the Latvian army. He awaited the occupation as a soldier. After that, he was sent to National Army. But when, in 1941, the army retreated to Latvian border, he deserted the army and made his way home to Riga, back to his wife. After the return from the National Army, Ludwig was again called up for military service, but this time for the German army. He got lucky, and he wasn't sent away to fight. That was because he knew the Russian language, and it was the advantage because he could translate for Germans. The advantage secured him the job as a railway cop, and he stayed in Latvia with his wife. In February 1944, Ludwig and Elizabeth had their first and only child. It was a girl. In the spring of 1944, the Russian army fought their way in Latvia, and the German army had to retreat. Ludwig, his wife Elizabeth, and daughter Valdmanes had to retreat together with the army. They went from Riga to Liepāja, but when German soldiers were ready to leave Latvia, he decided to stay. Ludwig got lucky, and his family survived the war together in his home country of Latvia. At the age of 95, Ludwig has lived a life full of surprises and adventures, a life of one that is paralleled with the life of the history of Latvian nation. Now, with his kids and with their kids and the kids on their own, Ludwig and his wife are supporting the next generations, making bright and happy future for them.